How are you guys doing this evening? I'm going to go through Nahum chapter 2. This is going to start ramping up our Father's judgment on Nineveh. And then there's one more chapter. There's chapter 3. And that's going to be about the God justifying what he's done. And this is my favorite chapter of this short book of Nahum. It's chapter 3. But tonight, chapter 2. All of chapter 2. Starting in verse 1. He that dasheth in pieces is come up before thy face. Keep the munition, watch the way, make thy loins strong, fortify thy power mightily. The Assyrians are beginning to be alarmed by Nahum's voice. He's saying, look about you. Can't you see? Do your instincts not tell you that your animal sacrifices, your paganism, your perversions, your idol worship is your insides aren't telling you a paranoia feeling like something's gonna be coming for what you've done? And after your grandparents have done told you about this man named Jonah 150 years before that, how they served God, and now they know that they're not serving the way that their grandparents did. These grandkids are heathens, and they're going to get it. For the Lord hath turned away the excellency of Jacob, as the excellency of Israel. For the emptiers have emptied them out, and marred their vine branches. God's pretty much humbled Israel, and the emptiers here are the Assyrians, and the vine branches represent Israel. And the Assyrians are beginning to have the Medes and the Babylonians on their front porch. They're getting ready. It's like kind of when the Mormons come to your house. They're unwanted. They come knocking on the door. They're unwanted. Well, the Medes and the Babylonians are coming to bring God's judgment, and they're going to be unwanted on the doorstep of Nineveh. The shield of his mighty men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet. The chariot shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation, and the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. Archaeologists have concluded that a lot of Assyrian artwork, a lot of it was in red, and their uniforms, or scarlet was a favorite color. And the thick shields that the soldiers of the Assyrians would wear, the copper shields, when the sun would hit them just right, it said that they would glow a fire red from a distance. And their chariots were not like they were built better than their enemies. They were wooden, but they had a lot of metal in them. So they were the General Motors of the chariots. So when they would come down the byways and the highways coming up in battle, they would rumble. They were heavy. They'd shake the fir trees. The chariots shall rage in the streets. They shall justle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightnings. In a lot of museums, some of the Assyrian relics will display the wheels on these chariots. And they'll have like a sickle, scythe kind of thing coming out of the hub to where they could get up beside their opponent within a couple feet, I reckon. And these sickles would dig into their spokes on their chariot and maybe flip them or whatever, but that was one of the innovations they had on there. And they'll jostle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightning. Pretty advanced chariots there. He shall recount his worthies. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. Nahum was prophesying that their march, their posture in their march, is becoming lackadaisical. they're starting to get a little jittery. They're not keeping their form. And the defense shall be prepared. Well, the Assyrians depended, Nineveh had this great grand wall around them. They depended on this big bad wall to keep out all the floodwaters from all the rivers that were around them, and to keep enemies out as well. The gates of the rivers shall be opened, and the palace shall be dissolved. The gates of the rivers shall be opened. The rivers are going to come out of their banks. The nearby Tigris River, it came out of its banks. It must have been in the rainy season. Like I've told y'all before, there is no Mother Nature. God controls the weather. Yes, mankind can manipulate, distort, and modify the weather. Yes, but it's all in our Father's will that these things happen and come to fruition, see? And God has made it rain enough to where the Tigris River came out of its bank and plowed over this wall and knocked it flat off its foundations. And the enemy, the Babylonians, were able to breach this wall due to the floodwaters collapsing it, collapsing the palaces and off their foundations. So, yeah, it was a lot of water. I'd venture to say it was a whole lot of water. And Hazab shall be led away captive. She shall be brought up, and her maid shall lead her, as with the voice of doves. Hazab means it is decreed. And Hazab shall be led away captive. It is decreed to be led away captive. As with the voice of doves. That's a holler. You know, I used to dove hunt over by a set of railroad tracks. And when you come up over the knoll and get right near the railroad tracks and scare those doves up, they make a patter on their chest. It's pretty loud. So it's an urgency to it. It's with the voice of doves tabering upon their breast, the maids shall lead her with a voice such as that. Loud. Trying to get their attention. But Nineveh is of old like a pool of water, yet they shall flee away. Stand, stand, they shall cry, but none shall look back. All the good possessions have been collected up in this collapsed fortress of Nineveh. Their knees are going to knock with fear in their heart. They have been wiped out and they've been beaten. They're starting to be decimated here. Verse 9. Take ye the spoil of silver, take the spoil of gold, for there is none end of the store and glory out of all the pleasant furniture. Well, the city is a lake by now. When the big flood, it's a lake by now, and the enemy's able to take the spoil, the silver and the gold. These were luxurious places. There's probably lots of fine dining and all kinds of jewelry and all the extravagance that a lot of materialists here in this world today enjoy, like, and have. She is empty and void and waste, and her heart melteth, and the knees smite together, and much pain is in all loins, and the faces of them all gather blackness. Interesting. Yes, they're scared. Their knees are knocking. Their loins are shaking and vibrating. Yeah, they're scared. They're scared. And the faces of them all gather blackness. I take this as putting on sackcloth and throwing ashes upon their head. Where is the dwelling of the lions? Where's the dwelling of the lions? And the feeding place of the young lions? Where the lion, even the old lion, walked, and the lions whelp, and none made them afraid. Okay. Well, the Assyrian symbol, the American symbol's an eagle. The Assyrian symbol was a lion. Is this referring to actual lions, or is this referring to strong young men being lions? A lion's a symbol of strength. quite sure. But they're gone. They're dead. They're not there. Where are the lions? Where's their defense? Where's their young men? The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lionesses, and filled his holes with prey, and his dens with ravin. Whether literal lions or not, the Assyrian army, they once ate good and they were well fed. Well, that's ended now. The enemy has made them desolate. Where are they? They're nowhere. The lionesses, lions, it's nowhere to be found. Last precept, 13. Behold, I am against thee, says the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke. And the sword shall devour thy young lions, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth. And thy voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard. Nineveh turned to God with Jonah. They relapsed with the grandchildren. They're now ignoring Nahum's warning, and they did ignore Nahum's warning. They're far from God. This, I take this verse to mean a note of finality. It's final. It's finished for them. Just real quick, in Matthew, Matthew 6:23. Matthew 6:23. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? It's a great darkness. They've been judged. So anyway, chapter 3 will be next time, and that's going to be the justification for our Father's judgment and total demolition of Nineveh. Till next time.